the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.
G'day, viewers and listeners. It's Ed Fox with another great episode of Nashville 2. Nashville 2 is about you. You are Nashville 2, so let's tell your story. If you or somebody else you know is doing something cool in the community, running a business, maybe they need promotion for that business, maybe they're a nonprofit and they need some visibility, and that's what we're doing here today with Ellen. We'll get to that in a minute. But you're Nashville 2, so let's tell your story. Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Trade Bank. Trade Bank of Nashville is a business-to-business barter exchange that helps businesses barter for things they want or need instead of using cash. So if they've got downtime or unsold inventory, they barter that for the things that they want and need. So business-to-business barter, it's a whole new way of bringing in new revenues and bringing in new clients. That's from our sponsor, Trade Bank of Nashville. And our special guest today is Ellen Peterson with Justice Industries. G'day, Ellen. Thanks for being on the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you. You and I met at a ribbon cutting for Del Mar Homes. I think they had let you set up a table there to talk about what you do. Now, Ellen, are you from the Nashville area originally?
I am. I'm born and raised. I'm one of the rare people that were born and raised. I did move away for a while after college, but found my way back. So
okay, cool. And how long have you been involved with this nonprofit?
I've been involved with Justice Industries for about 7, almost 8 years. So I had a small role when they first launched, but I've been their full-time executive director for 3 years now.
So tell me a little bit about what they do.
Yeah, so Justice Industries is a local nonprofit, and we create small social enterprise businesses to employ people with barriers to employment. So everyone we hire has struggled with previous incarceration, maybe they're coming out of homelessness, struggling with addiction recovery, generational poverty, mental health issues. So they would have a hard time getting hired elsewhere. So we create small businesses to put them to work.
So you create small businesses under the nonprofit's umbrella, or are these standalone, separate from the nonprofit?
They are under the nonprofit umbrella. So we, since we're Justice Industries, everything we do is just. So we have Just Glass, which is a curbside glass recycling program for residences and commercial customers in the greater Nashville area. That's our largest social enterprise. It generates about 80% of our program revenue and provides about 80% of the work hours for our team. We also have a mobile car wash called Just Wash, which is very busy from March to December, where we have everything contained in a van, and people book on our website, and we come to you, your office or your home, and wash your car right there on site. We have a partnership with another nonprofit in town called Springback Recycling. So we do just mattress recycling. We serve as a pickup partner for them and then get the mattresses to their facility to be recycled. And they employ people similar to the people we employ. And then we have a small organization called Just Clean, which is really a property management partnership where we send people out to maintain common areas, keep pool furniture tidy, sweep garage entryways, stock the pet waste station type thing. So those are kind of the 4 legs to our stool.
So what do people need to know about who you are, what you do, and how they can help?
Well, the greatest thing about a social enterprise is it really gives people an opportunity to use their purchasing power to make a difference. So obviously we can't send our team out to work if we don't have customers for Just Glass. So when people sign up and use their purchasing power to use our services, that's even better than a donation for us. So customers are our biggest need. We need people to choose to use Just Wash. And if you have a mattress to recycle, let us know. But it's a little bit of a unique niche because we are a nonprofit, but we're always doing business development to grow our customer base. So, yeah.
So if somebody's listening to this today and they're in the Nashville metro area, obviously as a 501c3, you can accept donations. But what I heard you just say is you would rather they be a customer of your service and let you earn the donation by participating in the business.
Correct. Like, for example, somebody could sign up to be a Just Glass customer on our website. It's right there on the homepage. And then for $18.50 a month, we will come and pick up your glass every other week. Right now we run routes 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. And we have almost 950 customers in the greater Nashville area. So we're looking to grow. We'd love to double that. That provides more work hours for our team. Last year with just glass alone, we kept 250 tons of glass out of the area landfills, and we provided about 11,000 hours worth of work. So it's a really unique niche that we're good for the environment and good for the community, employing local people, making an environmental impact right here in the city as well. So that would be really great if people would participate in our glass recycling, because Metro doesn't offer that. There's not a curbside option for glass recycling from the city right now. So.
And what area of the Nashville Metro do you cover?
We go all the way up to Donaldson, and we go all the way down to Franklin. So a list of zip codes is listed on our website. So if you are curious about if we serve your zip code or not, you can look at that list on our website. If you don't see your zip code there, if we kind of get 10 customers in that area, we'll head down there.
Sure. What is the website?
It's justiceindustries.org.
Okay. So pretty easy for people to find then. So tell me a couple of stories about the differences you guys have been able to make in people's lives with what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I have two cool stories. So as you can imagine, we partner with area social service agencies in Nashville. So we're an employee partner and a pipeline for them. We don't really provide wraparound services. We rely on our partnerships with Operation Stand Down, Matthew 25, Project Connect, Martha O'Brien, Salvation Army, we have about a dozen big names that we partner with. So when someone comes to us, you can imagine that they're kind of already on the margins. They can't get a job because of their criminal history, or they're struggling with homelessness, trying to get a steady paycheck to get some subsidies for housing and that kind of thing. So the people that we hire always have big goals. We have a guy that's been with us for 2 years. His name's Greg, and he does our wash. He works on Just Wash. I went out to meet the team last week, and Greg rolls up in this car, a little Honda Accord. And ever since I've known him, he has been, his goal has been to buy a car. He has taken the bus everywhere since I have met him 2 years ago. And you should have seen the grin on his face where he got his own transportation, which is, if you've never had to take the bus in Nashville, it is so time consuming. So, and it's cumbersome. You have to go downtown to change the route to get anywhere. So if you don't really fully understand what that's like, having a car and the freedom that brings to somebody is just an amazing gift. So so we love stories like that. We have another guy who worked for us for a while, and he was struggling with some addiction, and he was in recovery, and he actually relapsed for a bit. But just this past month, he is back in his program. He's been sober for enough time to where he feels strong enough to work, and he's just joined our team for 1 day a week right now. So he's coming back, which is, a really unique position for us to be in, because in a traditional job, he probably wouldn't have had that opportunity. You mess up and you're gone. And then it's kind of a hopelessness to feel like you're trying so hard to overcome. You have a setback. You need people to surround you that can help you with those ups and downs until you get really solid footing. So that's what we hope to be for people kind of on the margins in Nashville, and we love what we do. So yeah.
And so what's your biggest need with people out there listening? Maybe they're out of town. We have a lot of listeners that live outside of Nashville and listen to us for different cool things to do in Nashville. So if you've got those sort of people, how can they help?
Okay, so if they're not out of town, one thing that we do have that gets depleted quite quickly is we have an employee emergency fund. So while we do partner with social service agencies in Nashville to provide those services that we don't, like for housing help and food stamp assistance and some of the real cumbersome paperwork processes that go through, we do have an emergency fund that we help for our employees. A few years ago, for example, one of our team members' son was shot in a drive-by in Dallas, and he needed to rent a car to be able to go and be with him in the hospital. Unfortunately, he ended up not making it, but he was able to rent the car, be with him in the hospital, and then be there for the funeral. And we were able to help provide some of those funds. And, we feel like that's an investment in people that are that are often overlooked, people that don't really get the help that they need. And so we're some people would say you're kind of enabling whatever, and are they going to be there? Is that a good investment? But we feel like that's just a really great thing to be able to show people in that situation that there are people who will care about them and can help them, and really that it earns a lot of loyalty for our employees and what we're trying to do.
Right. So go on.
So donating to the emergency fund would be a great gift because it gives us some flexibility to respond to needs. We had a homeless man last year in the spring storms. He was living under a bridge that flooded, but we were able to get him out and get him to a hotel for that weekend when the storms were really bad. So things like that we don't wouldn't be our choice to do, but we love to be able to support and help when people find themselves in circumstances like that.
So they can support that way. And if they're local, are there any volunteering opportunities, or is there anything that you need help with?
We don't have a ton of volunteer opportunities. We're kind of working on that. We are launching next year a mentorship program where we're really trying to pair one of our team members with a mentor to help with some of the basics that can sometimes trip people up that aren't taught certain skills as they've come up through their life. So some budgeting stuff, even some soft job skills for some of these, some of our employees that have never held a job, and have lived maybe even on the street, and there's not a lot of accountability to learn to live and to operate kind of with some accountability and some parameters and things that we take for granted. If your parents grew up and said, yeah, show up to work on time, be respectful to your boss. If you don't like it, too bad. What the boss says you do if you want the job, Right. So certain things that we sometimes take for granted, to have a mentor come alongside our team members and just help them through some of the ups and downs that they may encounter while they're employed. So we're going to be launching that in 2023. So we'll be needing some mentors, which is a great way to build some relationships. But again, I go back to our customers, people in the local area that are hauling their glass to the convenience center. If you have $20 in disposable income each month, let us pick it up. You put Nardine to work, and you're doing a good thing. So.
Okay, and I wanted to ask you a question about Just Clean. Is it just exterior of the car wash, or is it like an auto detailer where they go in and vacuum as well?
It is. We have different options, and we have different prices for sedans and SUVs and trucks and minivans. So we do a basic interior exterior wash, but we can also shampoo carpets. We can detail some leather. We can restore your headlights. We do kind of an exterior buff wax. So when you go on our website and you want to book a wash, you'll get a list of drop-down services, and they're all listed there with the price and the time that it takes. So yeah, we started in 2020, unbelievably. And it was very basic at first, but we've learned a lot along the way, and some people really want more details. So we are offering some more of those specialized services, but so yeah, there's a lot of options.
And obviously you're bonded and insured and all the legalities that you need for all of that sort of stuff. So they don't have to feel, they don't have to be worried that that's not all covered.
Exactly. We are bonded and insured, and we are workers' comp covered and all the insurance. That's one of our biggest expenses.
Right. And do you guys offer gift certificates or a way to buy like that sort of stuff for our friends and relatives?
We do, and I'm so glad you mentioned that because we're coming up on holiday season. We have gift certificates available on our website, which if you go to the Just Wash section of our website, you'll see at the very bottom there's gift certificates. They make great stocking stuffers. They make great teacher appreciation gifts, even hostess gifts as we're coming into the holiday season for people hosting and all that sort of stuff. So those are those are wildly popular, especially during the holiday season. So we typically have to close in January and February based on what the forecast and how cold it is, because we kind of have to flush the tanks and stuff, but we're running strong between March and December. So
is the idea that you would add additional vans or down the road if there was the need for it?
Yes, we would love to. We would love to add that. So right now we have 3 vehicles for glass. And we have 1 vehicle for wash. But as that continues to grow and our exposure keeps growing for that, we would love to have multiple wash vehicles all over the city washing people's cars. We also do like hotspots. So if you're a business owner, it's a great way to show appreciation to your employees, where we come to your office and people get scheduled. And we've spent a week at at a large company before, just watching all the employees' cars, both inside and outside. We've done some teacher appreciation stuff too for some of the PTO organizations that are looking for a creative way to thank their teachers. So there's a lot that you can use with Just Wash that is really kind of creative.
That's a great idea. And that covers the metro as well?
It does. It does. We operate in the same areas. And when you go on our website to book, we kind of have it in two sections, Just Wash West and Just Wash East, just so we try to keep most of the people in the same. We don't want to have to spend 45 minutes driving from
back and forth. Yeah, exactly.
Right. But if you ever encounter a hiccup on there, you can always email me and say, wait, I'm not understanding exactly where I might land, and we'll be happy to help you.
Sure. How did you get involved in this? Had you had background in nonprofits, or is this the first nonprofit you've worked for?
No, I have been in nonprofit for probably over 20 years now. So I've done everything from fundraising and event planning to communications and organizational expansion, things like that. So the founder of Justice Industries is actually a pastor. His name's Mark DeVries. He was a pastor at First Pres Nashville for years. And he knew our first employee. Her name is Cheryl. She would pop into the church about every 6 months and ask for some help. And he thought to himself, Cheryl doesn't need another 20, 50 bucks. What Cheryl really needs is a job. And so let's figure out a way that we can provide steady, predictable work for Cheryl. And so out of that desire came this this social enterprise idea, and it started with glass and kind of migrated to mattress and migrated to clean. And then we launched Just Wash in 2020 with a big grant from St. George's Enterprise Ministry. So I knew Mark growing up, and he knew that I had some background in nonprofit. And when I moved back to Nashville about 10 years ago, he said, come work for me. So I'd started to doing some small, just managing their one fundraising event, but they grew quickly. And so, yeah, it's been really fun to be a part of. So,
well, and what do you think is the biggest challenge facing nonprofits in Nashville today?
Gosh, that's an excellent question. I mean, if I just think about our team, I think the biggest challenge, really the first thing that comes to my mind is housing, because I have so many people that are struggling with housing or struggling to keep up with the rising rents in housing and the cost of living. I do think that the growth in Nashville has been amazing, but I do think we're pushing aside some people who don't have a lot of alternatives of where they can go. So I think that's a big challenge for the community as a whole, but also the nonprofits. I mean, if you think about a place like the Salvation Army or Martha O'Brien and where they're located, they were in those areas specifically to serve people in those areas. And now it's being gentrified, which is, everybody can have opinions about that. I'm not saying that's good, or, you can have your own opinion about that. But then how do those community centers then serve the community, which seems to no longer need them? Do they move out to where the people are getting pushed away? Or, I mean, it's a complicated problem. So
are there nonprofits out there that are working on housing solutions that you know of?
Yes, most of the nonprofits that we partner with do have a housing solution or a housing element to it. The biggest problem is demand. There are so many people that need it. They're either housing insecure, so they might have a house, but they know that they're going to be evicted, or they know that they're going to be sold and it's going to be redeveloped, or they are currently experiencing homelessness, which is even more challenging. So that's a big problem for the city. So, but I will say the good news is, with what we do, we believe so wholeheartedly that work is an important component of that. Work matters. Earning a livable wage matters. Being able to earn your own income moves you off of government assistance more quickly than relying on social services. So we want everyone, it empowers you in a way that gives you dignity and purpose. So we really are thrilled with the opportunity to be able to provide steady, predictable work for our team.
Well, that's exciting. And I really appreciate you coming on the show. As we wrap up, what are some hidden gems around the Nashville Metro? You've lived here a long time. Some hidden gems that people listening to us may not know.
Oh, I wish I had my my little cheat sheet. Some hidden gems that I love. Well, I mean, I love the Warner Parks. They're not hidden. They're definitely not hidden. But I do love the Warner Parks.
So for somebody listening to that, like me, I don't know what the Warner Parks means. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Okay, yes. So it's Edwin Warner Park and Percy Warner Park. They're on the west side of Nashville, but from Belmead out to Old Hickory Boulevard near Steeplechase area. So tons of hiking and biking trails, shaded paths, even paved paths that cars can't drive on anymore. Just a great way to get out. The Little Harpeth River runs through some parts of it. Great for taking dogs and kids to get out in nature and get some fresh air. So that's one of my very favorite things to do in Nashville after moving to a huge city when I graduated from college.
What's something else that places you like to go for food or for entertainment or just to hang out that you think is cool? Because it's funny, when you live in a certain area for 30 years, you know all the cool places, but other people coming in don't, right?
Right.
Or you're limited to your area, your community, and you're not aware of other stuff that's on the other side of town, maybe.
Right. Well, one thing this is associated with the Warner Parks, if you're ever in town in Nashville when there's a full moon, the Warner Parks put on a thing called the Full Moon Pickin' Party. And so it's the weekend of the full moon, all through, I think from May through September. And if you bring your own stringed instrument, you get in for free, but they have food trucks, they have small stages with local people, just kind of, it's a picking party. So people come and bring lawn chairs, you can bring the dog, get food from the food truck. It's a great fundraiser for the parks, but if you people just kind of circle up and have these little jam sessions. And so it's definitely old Nashville feeling, so that's one of my favorite things. So
cool. You got one more for me? You got a favorite restaurant you like to go that's not a chain that maybe is unique to Nashville?
Let's think. I love Germantown Cafe. I love going down there. If you're going to the ballpark to go see the Sounds game or just kind of walk around. I tell my friends who come into town that hit Broadway and they kind of get overwhelmed by it if they're visiting or whatever. I'm like, well, lots of the Nashville, we like to kind of gravitate towards Germantown because it's still walkable and it has a fun vibe. I love going over to Germantown too. So
awesome. Well, thanks. And folks, we'll have that information in the show notes. Ellen will shoot me an email with that information, and we'll have information about Justice Industries and how you can help and how you can check them out. Thanks, Ellen, for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This is the Nashville 2 podcast with your host, Edward Fox.